Hello guys, so welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to learn about a very interesting topic of physics which is known as dynamics. Dynamics is the study of motion of bodies while taking into account the cause of the motion. This is an important branch of physics which deals with the effect of forces on bodies. The laws of motion give us the relations between the forces acting on a body and the motion of the body. Three laws were discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. So today I'm going to show you some parts of dynamics. If you are learning dynamics, you should have a proper definition of what is force. The first question that arises into our mind after we hear a force is acceleration. So what causes an acceleration actually? If you see the velocity of a particle like body change in either magnitude or direction, you know that something must have caused that change. That means if a body which is moving with a constant velocity of v, it is moving with a constant velocity of v, and suddenly its speed just increases. So let's say speed increase to v prime, and this increase of speed or this acceleration is caused by some cause which is known, and we name this cause as force. This is a logical definition of force. In simple words, we can say that an interaction that can cause an acceleration of a body is called a force. So we can also say that a push or pull on a object can be named as force. So the relationship between a force and acceleration was first understood by Sir Isaac Newton. So the study of that relationship as Newton presented it is called Newtonian mechanics. So, and we shall focus on the three primary laws of motion which Newton discovered. Okay, so the first law of motion is if no force acts on a body, then the velocity or the state of motion will not change. So let's say an object is in rest. Okay, so this object is on the ground and it is in rest position. And that means if this object is rest relative to another object beside it or another object a little bit far of it, so here we know that this object is in rest. So unless and until a force acts on it, it will not move. Definition that we can get from the first law is that, so this is the rest part if the body is in rest. Next will come in motion. If a body is in rest, then it will remain in rest unless acted upon by an external force. So this object is in rest and it will be in rest unless acted upon by an external force. So this is Newton's first law of motion. Now we will come across the motion part. So now let's take another example. If an object is moving with a velocity v respect to another object relative to another object, that means we know that it is in motion. So I can say that it is moving with a constant velocity. So it will continue to move unless acted upon by an external force. So if an object is moving with an uniform speed, it will continue to move unless acted upon by an external unbalanced force. So this is the first law of motion. We have learned about the rest part and we have learned about the motion part. If it is in rest, then it will continue to be in rest unless acted upon by an external unbalanced force. And if it is in motion, it will continue to be in motion unless acted upon by an external unbalanced force. Now we will talk about inertia. So what is inertia? So inertia is actually a property of matter by which it continues in its existing state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless that state by an external force. Mass is the measure of inertia. Means the more the inertia, the more will be the mass. So we can say that inertia is the tendency of an object to remain in its state of motion or rest. To remain in a state of rest or motion. So now let's move to the second law of motion. The second law of motion states that the net force on a body is equal to the product of the mass and the acceleration of the body. So this simply means that we can find the value of a force. Let's say I name it F net by finding the product of its mass, the object's mass, and the resulting acceleration. And you may be wondering that why I have given here two dots, because acceleration can be written like the derivative of dv dt, and we can break it further and we can write t square s and dt square. So that's why we give this two dots over acceleration to just represent this derivative. So this is the second law of motion. So let's say an object moving with acceleration of 1 meter per second square, and it has a mass of 1 kg, then the resulting force, which is F net, will be m dot a, that is 1 dot 1 kg dot meter per second square. So we can write it that 1 kg meter per second square, and we can give this kg meter per second square 1 newtons, or we can write it as 1 n. So an object which is moving with acceleration of 1 meter per second square and it has a mass of 1 kg, then the resulting force will be 1 newton. So now we will learn about the third law. When two bodies interact, the forces from each of the body are always equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. So this simply means that, let's say, two balls are collided with a force, then at this instant, the force, let's say this force is F and this force is F prime. At this instant, they will exert a force on each other, and this force will be the action and reaction force, which will be F is equals to F prime. So this simply means that whenever an object exerts a force on another object, the other object also exerts the same force but only opposite in direction on the other one. So this sim- this is the simple third law of motion. Let's say here we put like table type of thing, and here we put a box, and let's say this is a force exerted by gravity known as Fg, and this is a force exerted by the table on the box is N. Then the action force is equal to the force of Fg, and the reaction force is equal to capital N. And according to the third law of motion, Fg is equal to the magnitude of Fg is equal to the magnitude of capital N. So this is the third law of motion. So today up to this, if you like this video, please like, share and comment on this video, and please subscribe my channel and click on the bell icon to get notified when I upload a new video. And You can also follow me on Instagram. Thank you.